Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Live Fully with myself, Joanna Vargas, and I have the pleasure today recording from the Fit Factor studio in downtown Alhambra, and I am the founder of that studio, and I have the pleasure of speaking to Miss Kim McKay-Lee. She is our October 2009 Client of the Month, and I'm so excited to have you here today with me.
Thank you.
And I'm going to be interviewing her, and we're going to start right away with just a rapid fire question so that we can get to know you as a person and as a client a little bit more. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good? Okay. Well, where'd you grow up? And tell us about, where did you live? Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied right now.
I grew up in Inglewood, California. That is the home of the Lakers.
Inglewood.
And I grew up when I was the minority, so it quickly changed through the years where I became again the minority, but the shift was rapid and it was maybe not so positive.
Oh. How long did you live in Inglewood?
26 years, my whole entire life.
Wow. She's 26 right now.
My whole entire young life,
Good.
right?
Got it. Okay. And what were you like as a young girl?
Wow. Well, it's really sad, Joanna, because of where I grew up. I grew up I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood. So at first it was all white, and then white flight took, and that's where all the white neighbors had moved on, and it became predominantly black. So as a young girl, I was almost like the target where I didn't fit in because I was light skinned and long hair, and a lot of girls wanted to challenge that. So I grew up in a kind of rough. So I have done a big 360.
Tell us a little bit more about rough. What do you mean?
It was, you had to let the street know you weren't going to take no crap, and you look at me wrong, we're ready to go down. And it's really embarrassing, and it's kind of sad. But I had to defend myself. When you grow up and you are, it was like the black guys like me. I had long hair and light skin. And some of the black girls were a little jealous of that, and I wasn't able to speak Spanish, so I didn't get to hang out with the Mexicans. But I was able to have, friends on both sides. But there were always some girls that wanted to choose who they thought were strong to kind of get their name, and I wasn't gonna have it.
And tell us about your fitness journey. How did that start, and was there something pivotal that got you into really working out?
So I remember my fitness journey was in high school. I won best looking hair, and and I won the class, most talkative, and was runner up for class clown. And we had to take all these pictures. And I remember my good friend Jose also was best looking hair for the guys. And we took pictures, and this is my homeboy. We just, I used to hang around love these guys that I used to hang around with, and they all were Cuban, and they all had fly little hair. And I took pictures, and I looked like a little chunky monkey. And I was like, something's got to change. So I quickly started to run. And I started to do aerobics. Jane Fonda, back in the day.
At home,
Yeah.
VHS.
It was all at home.
Oh, okay.
And then I went on these crazy fad diets, and I just started losing tons of weight.
That sounds like my journey, but
Yeah.
about that one. Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
So then, when you started losing weight, how did people respond to you?
Oh my God, that's sad. Even now, when I'm older, I think it's really sad because as a society, we judge people on appearance, and to me, it's such a shallow way. But I could see when I was heavier, I can see that, when I was younger, I still got a lot of attention, but it may not have been the best attention because, guys want to just get in your pants, and, at one point you're going from heavy, and then you lose all this weight, and then all this attention starts getting on, you're like, hey, so that my losing weight has positive and negative effects. The positive was I started being treated differently from the outside world. The negative effect, emotionally, I had to change so that I could understand I'm not a piece of meat, but I am a real person. And so with that, you had to learn, and it was a lot of respect. It's a lot of the formula that had to change me, because when you're heavier and you're growing up in this environment where you have to, fight for, for even your hair. Some people had threatened to cut my hair off, and I was like, again, let's do this. We're ready to go at it. I had to learn that, you know what, I have to treat me with respect, and then other people start treating you with respect. And it's a shame. I think we judge people on the way that we look. It's sad, but that's our society.
Yeah, in high school I had the same thing, and I started going to Weight Watchers when I was 13. Imagine 13, and I was very tiny. And as soon as I started losing weight, people were telling me, "Oh, you look good. What are you doing?" So I associated really skinny, because I was really skinny, not thin, I'm talking skinny. I associated that with beauty. It was right away, 13 years old, thin equals beauty, and that's it. It was black or white. And so I've learned that is not the formula or the answer, and that's why I opened the Fit Factor. But I could get it. People treated me differently right away. Like, I'm pretty. Oh, you look so good.
Right.
And it was almost like, oh, I don't look good when I look like that.
Well, and two, I think we get caught up in what does good look, and it should be like looking good should feel good. Yeah. And I think it's so important, because I went from a size 13, because back in the day it was, you would run sizes like 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, and 13. I went from a 13 to a size 4.
Whoa! But
in my mind, I hadn't done the emotional cleansing that I needed to, because pretty is, to me now, is more than losing weight. But I didn't understand that then. I thought pretty was just losing weight, like you said, that ideology of becoming thinner. And that's what everybody liked, because that's what got more attention. So that must be pretty. But that's looking at a young mind of 25 trying to hang out with the good looking guys and get all the action, from an older perspective now, where you see that is so not pretty.
Wow, we could talk about this for
it's deep, because there's, I think a lot of young girls, and when I started going back to school, I wanted to really reach out to a lot of the young minority women to let them know that, you know what, when a guy says, "Hey baby, let me get your number," that's not the same as somebody who really wants to get to know you and who you are. And they're not judging you for what you look like, but who you are. You're more than a piece of meat. And I had to learn that. And even when I would go to the clubs and hang out, and guys would sit there and stare, for somebody to say, "You know what, God, you're talking to you for 5 minutes, you're cool, you're down to earth." I really like that. That's who I was into, not somebody who was like, "Damn, that ass looks good." There's a difference. It's, they're going to treat you like a piece of meat if you allow them, and if you feel that that's what you want. But you got to dig a little deeper.
Yeah. Well, throughout your whole fitness journey, what's the biggest thing that you've learned? Maybe about yourself, about what's going on up here?
Well, it all ties back into it. Being pretty on the outside, I thought was the key. But I learned later in life that being pretty on the inside is really what matters. It's like having a good heart. It's respecting yourself, loving yourself. Don't get me to crying. That's what matters. And I didn't know that when I was younger. So I may have been what people would have viewed as being pretty, but I would open my mouth and I was cursing like a sailor, or I was telling somebody, like, I'm ready to attack them. And there was like an epiphany, and I think it came with my son, where I was like, this can't be pretty. Being a lady, holding your head high, treating yourself with respect, treating others with respect, that to me is pretty. And if you've ever known some of the strong women in your life, I looked at like my ex-mother-in-law, I used to think she was so beautiful, but she really wasn't. One day I looked at these pictures and I was like, God, she's really not as pretty. But it clicked. What was pretty is she always spoke positively. She spoke with the Lord. She always praised people and tried to bring people up. And I said, that's what I wanted to be. That's what pretty is. Pretty isn't just walking down the street having long hair. That's God-given. And I could get hit by tomorrow. And would I have this? And are you going to treat me any differently? I want people to see who I am, my heart. And that was my journey. And I'm so grateful for the whole journey, because it just taught me that beauty is only skin deep. If you reach down, all of us are beautiful. All of us have beautiful attributes about us. But some of us get a little lost in thinking that those attributes are the most beautiful thing. And it is if it's your heart.
I like how you said we get lost.
We do.
Yeah.
I think so at times.
If you can go back, Kim, and speak to the younger Kimmy and say anything, how old is she and what would you like to tell her?
Wow, man. At 13, you know, I like Michelle Obama when she says, I would try to tell myself that the one who curses and the one who wants that fight and the one who wants to mop somebody, that's not the way you play the game of life. It's he with the most friends at the end of the day wins. You want to make friends, you want to make enemies. And you've got to learn how to love and respect yourself before you can ask anybody else to love and respect you. And don't worry about what you look like, but worry about the little eyes, the younger eyes that are going to be on you and look up to you, because you're teaching everybody all around you all the time, to your younger brothers and sisters, your kids on the street. I had a lot of young girls who wanted to be like me because they thought I was a badass. And God, I wish I could reach out to them and say, look, you guys, I had it wrong. But I live today now, and I try to mentor as many young women as I can, because I just think that beauty rules the world. I think love rules the world, and I think kind words and positivity is the answer.
I'm so glad we had this conversation. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he's 50, and he has a daughter, and she's 18, and she's gorgeous, and she's been acting out and acting differently lately. And my intuition was to tell him she's unhappy because she thinks she's not beautiful. And he thought I was crazy. He's like, no, she's gorgeous. And I said, it doesn't matter. As girls, we're fed pretty is everything. Are you pretty? Because when I walked in a room as a young girl at 4, 5, 6 years old, the first thing I would always hear was, oh, you're so pretty, or oh, que bonita, oh, look at your sister, you're so pretty. I mean, that's how it wasn't malicious, but that's how they equaled your worth. Instead of saying, what book are you reading in school?
Right.
Or what did you learn today?
Right.
They go right to you're pretty, your sister's prettier, you're prettier, whatever it was. And now that as I'm older, I can look back and go, oh, that's where it started. That's where it began, with movies and things of that nature. And I was trying to explain to him that that record is playing over and over. And at 18, you don't know yet. I go, I'm 40. And he said, well, how did you get over it? And I said, I just had to go and learn and do my own journey. However, he couldn't understand that I told him that's what it was. Long story short, he had a conversation, and that's exactly it. She just felt like low self-esteem. She wasn't good enough. Fill in the XYZ. Boom.
Yeah.
But he just can't understand, and that was my dad. He couldn't understand. Like if I had a lull, and I was 18 and I was just being a brat or whatever, it was because my self-worth was so low. And I don't think men understand that.
You know, it's funny. I had a boyfriend that I dated, and he had a daughter who was 18, and we used to do the laundry together. And she came out with some pretty little skimpy thongs. And I was like, wow, she's in high school. And I was like, look, Mike, there's two types of panties. There's one you wear because you want to feel pretty, and there's one set that you wear because you want somebody else to see how pretty you are. And I had to have to say to this young girl, right? I'd have to say to this young girl, you know what? You have to love yourself. You have to treat yourself as beautiful and not let everybody see your pretty panties, because that's going to mean nothing to them. And especially when they get it so easy, it means nothing. But you hold on to those pretty panties, and you have to just put them on and let nobody see them, because at the end of the day, you're giving yourself away to somebody who may not even cherish you the way you deserve to be cherished, but you do deserve to be cherished. And if you don't feel good about yourself, then two things: do something about it, or do something for somebody else. And that will make you feel better. But don't give yourself to anybody who's not worth having you.
I love that. I love the wear your panties for you.
That's right.
Woo, I like that.
Because you know, we all put on a pair of panties, and you're like,
this is for me. I'm dating myself.
That's
right now.
And you walk in, and you walk, but nobody has to see it. Nobody has to know your little secrets.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's
deep.
panty business.
Woo!
That's
We can talk all day. We're gonna start a new TV show. Kim and JoJo show. Well, thank you, Kim, so much. If you're just tuning in or watching this, thank you so much. This is the Live Fully show. I'm out of words. I can't even speak right now. And we're at the Fit Factor Studio in downtown Alhambra. You can find us online. Know your worth. And live fully. And you can find us at thefitfactorstudio.com, on Instagram and Facebook at The Fit Factor Studio. And again, this was Kim McKay-Lee. She is our October 2019 Client of the Month. I'm so grateful. We are so grateful. She comes into class with a big smile. She makes it fun. She speaks to everybody. She's a butterfly and such a light. And hopefully that spreads to you. And we had some really good conversations today. And if you know somebody that can listen to this video, please share it with them. And hopefully we can spread the word. Mwah. Remember to live fully. Bye, hon. See ya.